Any doubts? Today we see how to implement the yesterday's concept, like whatever we have used through delegates using completion blocks or closures. Okay. As and when we enter any user ID, we are fetching the information and displaying the username here. Now, let's see how to exactly do the same thing by using closures is one thing. Second thing is Codable. These are the two things which are really we use in real time. First, we see Codable. Codable contains actually two protocols. One is encodable. Another one is decodable. Encoding, decoding. Encoding, decoding is process of converting the data objects into Swift object or Swift object into data objects. We are receiving the data object, right? We are receiving the data as a response, converting that into Swift objects. Swift data models here in our case, user. What we are doing here, user. And this is called encoding. Basically decoding actually. And Swift data models. Data is called encoding. Encode and decode. Okay, these two things are allowed by using encodable protocol and decodable protocol. These two protocols are kept in single protocol, which is called codable. Okay, we are receiving the data here. We are sending the data back to the view controller, whoever is called. There, what we are doing here, we are preparing user object. We are doing all this stuff. We are taking each value for the specific key. For data, we are taking support. We are taking from the data. We are taking ID, email, first name, last name, and avatar. From support data, we are taking URL, text. Basically, to create user object, we did all these things. Since it is having only 2 keys, maximum 6 keys, it is okay for now. But in response, you will see hundreds of keys. That case, following this syntax is very, very hectic. Very difficult to follow this syntax. Now, to do so, what we can do is instead of using like this, what we can do is we can, by using Codable protocol, we can directly convert the data into Codable, the data into users, the data into users. Shall we do that? From here, what I do is, let me take one more protocol where I directly send the, func with fetch user info. Directly I'm passing user object here. This is one way we're getting the data, we're passing the data to the view controller. There we are taking different using different keys and fetching the values and preparing user object. Now, what I want is I directly want to receive the data object by using protocol. Let's see what is the error we have here. Command B, go here, comment these 2 lines. Implement the third method. What is third method? We're directly getting the user. There, what I can do is explain that text equal to user dot data dot first name. Here it is very simple, but the creation we are doing here, we are getting one parameter only. Here also we are getting one parameter. Here we are getting string and any dictionary. Here we are directly getting the user. From the string and any dictionary, from the user info, we have created a user object. Here directly we are getting the user object. How to get that we see. In HTTP client, here we are getting data. We are converting the data into this JSON object. Now, what I do is I don't want to convert this into the data JSON object. I just directly want to convert that into user object. This is general way of practicing usually. Now, by using Codable, let's see, do the same thing. Same thing I'm doing here, whatever I did here. Same thing I do, but only one line is changed. Control I for formatting. Here, instead of using JSON serialization for parsing, we are having three different techniques, right? For parsing XML, we are having a NS XML parser. For parsing JSON serialization, another one is decoder. Now I try to use decoder. If let user equal to try it JSON decoder decode. Here we need to use whatever object you want to user dot self and the data is data. That's it. You get the user here and call this method. We need something here. Anyways, data, we definitely have the data here. Delegate. Third method, fetch user info. Did fetch user info, right? It is not a did fetch user info user. I'm passing the user here. Okay, what is this? User. Now I'm following this syntax. The syntax is correct, but what is not correct is here we need to follow the Codable protocol. User follows Codable. Data follows Codable. Very simple. Wherever you're creating models, right, where we need to follow Codable protocol so that we can use this instead of using all this stuff. We can directly use convert this into the user. That's it. What is this? Is it JSON decoder? Decode. Yes, self question mark. Command B. That is initialization of condition must be an optional type. Okay. Even we can remove this. Here, instead of using this, only one line change here, which made us to comment these many lines of code. For user, two things we need to follow. First thing is this Codable, the conversion to which it is happening, the model should follow the Codable protocol. Second thing is this is how we need to use JSON decoder, decode whatever object you want to. I want to convert the data into user object, user.self, pass the data. You get the data, revert that back to the view controller. Here, we are not following these things, we're directly setting the value. What happened? The data object directly converted to the user object. Very simple. Change it, right? Name you change it. We got the name. Let's say 4. U. Let's say 11. I want to display loading indicator while performing the operation. Let's see how to display that. In vController main, your activity indicator, right? Place it in the middle. How to place it in the middle? Center horizontally, center vertically, and make this as medium, right? Make it this large. This is large, and there is something called hides when stopped. Hide when stopped. Okay, hide it. Now let's have the outlet here. In vController, we are having outlet. Outlet v where loading indicator, activity indicator view. Okay, when to call that? When user clicks on the button, right? When the user clicks on the button, after Validation is completed. There we are starting. Loading indicator data. Start animating. Once we receive the response, where we are receiving the response, here we are receiving the response after delegate method, right? Stop animating. Same thing here as well. Stop animating. Even for the error also, stop animating. Right? By default, we see the loading indicator. We need to hide that. And by default, it is hidden because it is stop, right? Already hidden. Loading indicator is crashed. Why? There is no outlet. Loading indicator view. See, it is very quick, so we couldn't see it clearly, but it is displaying. 1, 1, 2, 3. See, you can see the loading indicator and hiding. When we are starting the loading indicator, whenever we are starting our request, here I am starting now our request. So I am displaying start loading indicator. And when it is ended, once you get a successful response or you get failed response. Codable, these days people are using codable alert and closures alert. Okay, all these things, all this nonsense we do not do, because in real time we get 100 keys. Number of keys we get. In such cases, following this syntax is very difficult. Or else either you need to use Codable or the Swift JSON or object mapper, third-party libraries. Those automatically converts your data into the objects. But Codable is the native protocol, native API to convert data into users. Clear, right? Let us do the same thing with closures. Okay, let me take a different method instead of writing everything in the single way. Let me take, let's see, request. What is the another API which we are having? Request.in. List users we have here. Okay, single user we tried. List users I'm trying here. This is the number of pages equal to 2 pages only we have in the server. Total records is 12 records we have, and the data per page is 6 records we are getting. The current page is 2. Okay, let me take a different application and try this. Okay, here if you see there are many number of keys. Let us try this. How to also use the pagination. Okay, let's try that. By using closures, we do this. Project. What is that? Pagination. I'm just trying to put pagination here. We need HTTP client, right? HTTP. You can put anything, REST client or API, HTTP API handler, networking handler, different things you can put. Class HTTP client. We need to have the static variable, static let shared singleton I'm creating. How to create a singleton? HTTP client equal to HTTP client and private initializer. Private initializer. Okay, let us have a method. Let's see what is the URL first thing. The URL is this is the URL. I just tap command and tab, open a new tab. This is actually the URL. Okay, let me take func fetch information. You can have any whatever name you want. Fetch info. Okay, the fetch info. Let's see what exactly it is required. Let URL endpoint equals also. Here we need to start with page number 1, right? Let's see. Page number is one thing which we need, which is going to be integer. And what it is returning? It is returning some data uh, which is containing data actually contains users, and there are other things as well. Okay, let me create models for this first. Let me create models for this. Okay, here page number equal to page number. I'm going to create models. Whatever we are getting the response for that, I'm creating models. That is the user list, right? Let me click Command N, Swift class, user list. It is going to be a structure. And directly we want to convert, so I'm calling Codable. And see which is having a page. Let page is integer. Very simple. Let per page is integer again. Let total is again integer. Total pages is again integer. Data. Data is, what is data? It is array of dictionaries. For each dictionary, this is dictionary. For dictionary, we have created one model. Similarly, for this dictionary, we need to create another model. Okay. For this, already we are having a model, right? User model. We can use that, right? Let me take. Let me create a class. Sorry, struct user. This is user model. Here, assume that since there are a few keys, I just typed here. If we are having 100 keys, it is very difficult to type. And we need to follow same key names. It is very difficult to follow. So that what we can do is we can copy this and there is a website called Quick Type. Here, paste your information and what you want user list, right? What is that? User list. User list, right? Yeah. See here, QuickType is a website where you can convert your JSON object into models. Here, structure, user list, Codable, which is having couple of properties. Even support also we have, yeah. Data, this is datum, right? Let me convert that into user if I can. Yeah, this is data as given. We can convert that into a user. This is user info, right? And we can also see coding keys. Coding keys is actually, what is the key we have here? Actually, what is the key? Per underscore page. I don't want to use per underscore page. I want to use per page. So what we can do is by using coding keys, we can map that per page is equal to per underscore page. This is how we can map. Okay. If you directly want to use the per underscore page, there is no issue. If you want to give different name, I want to use per page instead of per underscore page. I want to use per page. That case, we need to follow this coding case. You know, coding keys, string, comma, coding key, case. Page equal to page only. I don't want to use anything. Per page equal to per underscore page. This is how we need to use page. Total is total. Whatever we have, this is the key, but I don't want to use per underscore as a key, so that we can use coding keys. Okay, that is what I have used here. Same procedure. Okay, we can directly copy this and paste here instead of writing everything. PickType is a very helpful tool. Here data, right, which is the user, right? Let me convert that into the user. Here we are getting user. See, even support, we did the same thing, but automatically it is created. Very simple. Okay, data. Let's know. Here, what is the mark here? Mark means here, if you see, mark is some kind of a category, user category. There is something, where is mark for user, right? For user, this is the category. There is only one mark. Marking is basically segregating the entire code, segregating entire code. Here, we don't have any mark here. Even if you want, you can also have add. Let's say I want to implement table delegate. You can mark this, mark colon high space this. Table data source. Now what happens? So one heading will be created. One heading is created. Here I can mark view controller lifecycle. Basically, just to differentiate view controller lifecycle, table delete data source like that. Yeah, user list is ready. We have used quick type here. Now come to HTTP client. What it returns once you hit the response, once you hit the URL, what it returns? It returns user list, right? It returns user data. From view controller, I'm calling an API on the HTTP client. Once that is successful, I get a user list object, right? Let me write that extension view controller one user list did user list by getting user list. What is user list? User list object. This is what we are expecting from the service. This is a method. Instead of having this method, we can have the closure. Here, how to convert this into the closure? How to convert this into the closure? We know how to convert this into closure. The input argument becomes the closure connects no names. So you can remove this. Like basically here, I'm passing that closure. I am passing this method closure. I'm passing this method as a closure. Let's see. Here, it should accept the closure. Completion. What we are trying to pass? User list and void. That method does not return. This method does not return anything, right? So I'm not getting anything. This method takes input argument. So I'm using. So instead of using this here, instead of using delegates, we can use the closures. I'm just writing a function, IV action, func load data, HTTP client, shared dot fetch info. What is the page number? Page number is 1 at present. And this is the closure. This is how we use the closure. Very simple. Whatever you are expecting, convert that as input argument. I am expecting user list, so I convert that as input argument. Enter, we get user list. Print that. Print user list. Very simple. Okay. Even without this also I do. Directly I'll call this load data from here. Load data. Instead of button, I'm directly in the view load itself, I'm doing that. Fetching the information and displaying here. We also use the table view. Okay. Here, actually, this is the URL. What are the 5 steps involved here? First, we need to create URL and URL request, right? Let me create URL request. URL request equal to URL request, URL of string endpoint. Now URL system to make it, I'll just split this instead of doing this. Let URL equal to URL quotes and wrapping. Now URL system. Let URL session equal to URL session dot shared dot data task with request. The request is URL request. Here data we are getting, response we are getting, error we are getting. If error equal to nil means successful. If error is successful, what we can do? We can use the exception handling and convert the data into the user list object. Okay. If error equal to nil, also I'll take is let data equal to data. I'm also making sure that data has some information. It is not nil. Now here, do let user list equal to try JSON decoder decode. What is the protocol here? User list. What we are expecting? User list dot self and from the data. Once you get the data, what we need to do? There is a completion handler, right? All the completion handler. That's it. Completion handler is expecting user list. That's it. Very simple. See, it became too small. And also catch block. Catch error. I'm just printing error here. Error. And also we need to return completion. User list is now empty. I can make this. We may or may not be getting data, right? We may or may not be getting data. I can pass nil here. If there is any error, I'm passing nil. Similarly here also, if there is something error, I'm passing nil. Okay, and finally resume it. Resume, even this is not required here. Resume, starting the request, preparing the request is first step. Sending it through the URL session is second step, and it processes the request of the server side and returns you the response, and passing the response is fourth step, and sending this back to the view controller is the fifth step. What is this error? Enclosing closer. Yeah, here while telling the closures, we have seen escaping closure and a non-escaping closure. What happens in the actual procedure? The control comes here, tries to execute. Line number 1 is simple, executed. Line number 2 is executed. Line number 3 is executed. Line number 4, it takes 1 or 2 seconds to execute. But the control does not wait here for 2 or 3 seconds to get the response. It comes just simply executes and it goes back to the view controller. After a few seconds, the control again, we receive the response. The response should be sent back to the response should be sent back to the view controller to the closer. After a few seconds, we are sending. This is called escaping closer. Non-escaping means before the control exists from the method, the closure should have been called. That is called non-escaping. To make this escaping very, very important. Again, 100% question. What is escaping closure and non-escaping closure? When do we use escaping closure and when do we use non-escaping closure? What is the default closure nature? Default closure nature is escaping, no, non-escaping. Default closure nature is non-escaping. Okay, let's try this. We use the table view and we try to fetch the second page as well. Okay, in the view load itself, we are fetching the information. There is no button here. Actually, we are in the video load itself. We have called the method. Yeah, what we have received here. See, we received some information here. What is nil is printed? Why the nil is printed? Yeah, finally we got the response, but some reason somewhere it is printing nil. What is that? Error. If it is no error, we need to return here. Completion block, right? Return. Yeah, we need to stop it here instead of executing this as well. Okay, let's see if that is the reason why it is printed nil. Yeah, that is the reason. We need to return from here itself. I don't want to execute. This executes all the time, right? Or else what we can do is, if this is not successful, then only execute. This way also we can avoid calling failure closer. In failure, if you want to return some any kind of error, also you can return. In that case, what we need to do? We need to take one more parameter here. This is clear, right? Let us load this in the on the table view. Okay, let's load this on the table view. What I do is I'll take here user list. Okay, question mark. May not be existing. Here self dot user list equal to user list, and here weak self. Okay. Let us display the data on the weak self user list. Let us display the data on the table view. What is this? No initializers. Must be unwrapped. So question mark here. What is missing? Here, this is the user list, right? Let me change the name. The compiler is in confusion. User list is actually this user list it is referring, but that is not the actual user list. It is. Let me make it variable. Yeah, perfect. Now I want to display the data whatever we get on the table view. Let me create that. Table view creation is very simple. EI table view 0 0 0 0. Let me take a table view cell. Let me bring this down, increase the size. This is user cell. User cell for the table view, set data source and delegate methods, delegate protocols, setting, data source, setting, delegate, come here, extension, view controller, EA table view delegate, EA table view, data source. Here, number of rows in section, that is how many number of rows, user list dot data we are having, data means users array count. If it is not existing, return 0. And self for row index path, guard let cell equal to table view dot dq reusable cell with identifier. The identifier is this user cell, else return EA table cell. In cell, we can take letter a user equal to user list data index path dot row. Data is array index path dot row, index path dot row, and we're getting the user here. Cell dot text text table dot text equal to a user dot what is this first name plus a user dot last name. I'm just concatenating it with some space. Perfect. Return cell. That's it. Very simple. Okay. Once you get the response, what we need to reload the table view, right? IV outlet with where table view, EA table view. And once you get the response from the server, we need to reload it. Reloading should be done on the main thread, right? Dispatch queue dot main dot async self dot table view dot reload data. Within 2.5 minutes, we created a table view. Give the outlet, new referencing outlet, table view. Even make this, yeah, fine. What is this error? First name and last name, user existing. Let me use this. Let me remove the question marks here. Perfect. Data is fetched and displayed here. Each time we got 6. What we can do is I'll just increase height for the height of the cell, height for row to next path, return 100.0, so that we can see the now pagination. We can enable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 150. I'll make. Okay, and what I do is I'll also display the email cell dot detail text label dot text equal to a user dot email, and make our cell as subtitle cell, user cell default. What is this? Style subtitle. Okay, this is our table. When you scroll down, what I need to do is I need to make one more request and pull the remaining information. Pagination, very, very important. In real time, you use the pagination. Even here, I want to show the loading indicator. Okay, we can also show the loading indicator here. Let me try that. UI activity indicator view. Same thing, whatever procedure we have followed. Drag and drop on the view, not on the table view. It is not. It should be on the view, not on the table view. Keep it center. Also hides when stopped. Go here. Or let IP outlet V where loading indicator, UI activity indicator view. Here we need to start animating, and once you get the response inside the UI operation, right? Loading indicator, right? Stop. Inside the dispatch main queue, we are doing this. Okay, let's give the connection. Loading indicator already given. All right. Go here. Loading indicator. That's it. And make this larger and hides when stopped. Yeah, without displaying that also, we're getting the response here. Yeah, fine. Start animating, stop animating, right? Which we have followed. Start animating, start animating. Yeah. To see that, what we can do is here we can use some weight for 3 seconds. Let's try this to see the loading indicator. After 3 seconds, we get the response. Okay, very useful, very simple now. Hitting the network request and even pagination we see now. Clear? Using the closer, codable, encodable, decodable, creating the models, simplest way of creating models. What is coding keys? Important. When do we use coding keys? Escaping closure, non-escaping closure, how to handle the response.